that doesn't mean they're not going to resist it, because I promise you, they know how powerful this process is. And they're going to try to find ways to deceive you, lie to you, cheat you, and beat you out of your property still. It's not going to just be smooth sailing. But with the united effort that we're going to do, and you folks doing the same thing, carbon copy, exactly like we are, you're going to have lots of results around the country, and this is going to take the court system by storm. This is going to take the banks by storm. They're not going to be able to defend against this. Ultimately, we're going to win. It's not going to be without a struggle, but it's going to be a lawful and a peaceful struggle, and we're going to win this thing. And so everything we're doing has an intent, and it has an intent, it has a plan, it has an actual plan of attack here. And that's the reason we're controlling this, because if I turn this loose to everybody and I just tell you, go do what you want to do, 6 months from now, this whole process will just be in the trash can somewhere, because it'll be destroyed. And that's the reason we're doing it the way we are. And I hate to say it, but right here in this room, I've got people that will be out there charging people $10,000 to do it. The whole process, the entire process to do this is $580. That's it. $580. That's the total process. Okay? That's affordable. That'll help a lot of people. And that's the people, when they get through that process, will own their land. They won't be tenants on their land anymore. They'll be landowners. And even more importantly, they will be electors. And what do electors do? They elect government officials. Yes?
My small understanding, I thought the original electors had to have 40 acres. Did that change?
They are landowners, but I don't know. I don't think there was a 40-acre requirement to my knowledge, but they were landowners. There were many of them were given 40 acres as their service in the Revolutionary War. Yeah, they were given 40 acres, and many of them got two 40-acre tracts. And all your land patents were broken up into 4 40-acre tracts, 160 acres, or most of them were. That's the way they were organized. And what they did is they put 4 military men on one patent. And each one had 40 acres, was traditional. But a lot of times they went and bought 40, and some of them bought all 4 from their fellows, or had it transferred to them, assigned to them. But anyway, we'll talk more about that. But my point is that we've got to keep this process pure. We've got to keep it right. And that's the reason we're doing the controlling the way we're doing it. Without a control number, and we'll talk about that control number and the importance of that control number, you will not be able to record any documents without that control number, period. That Republic Records will not do it without that control number. And that control number is going to come from one office for everybody, because that's what I've ordered the Records Bureau. Unless you've got that control number and it is confirmed, because it has to be confirmed, nobody will record documents. Because that way we will know that our people are the ones doing it, and we won't get sabotaged by agents out there. Okay, this process, you have to agree to do it the way it is done. It is set up, and not change it, not alter it, because if we find out that you altered it, we will pull your certification. And if you don't have a certification on file and you don't have a control number, you're going to get them returned to you, because it will not be filed. They won't be recorded in our Records Bureau. And we've got to do it that way to protect the process. This is a very, very powerful tool. This is something that's going to bless you immensely. I've got a lady writing, she called me yesterday. She said, need you to come and teach. And she said, I've got 14 land patents on my desk right now, and I hadn't even been trained. She said, I was just talking about it, and people sent me 14 of them, deeds and land patents, already to get started. And I can't even do it. I'm not trained yet. She said, when are you coming? I said, in a couple of weeks. But anyway, that's the response people are going to get. You're going to get a lot of people want to do this. You're going to be covered up, you're going to be compensated well, and you're going to be blessed very well, and you're going to get to help a lot of people. And we're going to keep this thing controlled to where everybody will be treated the same no matter where they're at in this country. Because we have to charge money for people to do things, and we understand that. But I'll guarantee you one thing. If you went back over my financial records, the money we've got from seminars, I gave it back mostly to the people. Most of it went back to the people. That's true. I've helped a lot of people across this country. And that's what we want to continue to do. And I absolutely despise Patriots for Profit. I absolutely can't stand it. It's not what this is about. This is about helping the people. And so we've set everything in a way that everybody can participate, and it won't hurt them financially to do it. And that's what we're trying to do. We've set this up where it's for this seminar. I've already been told by professional seminar people that I could charge $2,500, $5,000 for this and fill up a stadium. And I told them that's not who I want to help. Literally, I turn down millions of dollars to teach this to you, groups like you, to try to get this to the people. Because when you go out and charge people $2,500 to $5,000, then you're going to make it a commercial process, and that's not what this is about. This is about helping people. So I hope everybody's on the same page with me. Doesn't mean you can't be blessed and you can't prosper, but it means that everybody's going to get treated fair and treated with respect. And that's one thing we will demand to anybody that's certified through this process. But anyway, I'm going to turn it back over to Brother Tim, Dr. Timotheus, and we will. I'm going to get over here and shut up and let y'all go ahead with your business.
Thank you. Well, it's amazing what the Lord does for us. I have been involved in presenting facts, concepts for up to about $10,000 a seat for a week. Okay? These 2 days, in my estimation, include much more value. Much more value. And it's part of the Lord's love for us. It's loving on each other. Jurisdiction. What is the meaning of jurisdiction? Well, if we go to the Latin, you have juris or juris, which is regarding law, the law. And you have diction, which means to speak or speaks. So the law speaks. Jurisdiction, the meaning of jurisdiction most literally is the law speaks. We have included in the concept of jurisdiction, we have concepts of lawful or legal power and authority. Lawful goes to the substance, the underlying substance. It goes to positive law as opposed to pretended law. There's power and authority involved. There is a lawful power and authority, power being force. Law has force involved with it. That which is legal has legal force involved with it. And there is lawful authority and there is legal authority. And we may discover, if we were to think on these things for a little bit, we may discover that it's some of the things involved in law, the terms are oxymoronish. Okay? The law as it has been shaped by the mind of man is schizophrenic. It is. It is. Think about it. They lock people up for not having a grip on reality. Right? For being deluded. But what does the law do? It has this rule operating called fictio. Which does not use reality in the sense of that which is true. So we have these minds, these great minds in the arena of law, contriving all these fantasies and living in a fantasy world, and then holding us accountable for all their fantasy notions. Who truly needs to go to the loony bin? Another way you can think of lawful or legal is you could compare the terms law and color of law. If it's law, it is positive law. Scripture is positive law. Because in the sense that it evidences principles of truth in accord with the design and operation of the cosmos that is laid down, set forth in the mind of the Creator to produce a certain outcome. The Constitution is positive law. That's where man, who is given dominion in the earth and who has delegated sovereignty in the earth, made a steward. It's not actually a trustee, he's a steward. He's being employed. There's a difference. But you have man with his sovereignty exercising the dominion that God gave him, and in an exercise of his sovereignty, God's sovereignty, God saw fit to make some changes in the realm of law in the earth involving the societies of man, and separated Americans out as a unique body politic. That's also called a church. For those of you who don't know, the Greek term ecclesia is body politic, called out body politic. Church is not an entirely accurate translation of Scripture. It does communicate a similar idea, but we can lose some things if we don't know the truth. If we're looking at the chaff, the ink on the paper, and we don't see the nuggets down there that the river of God, the Holy Spirit, has for us to see, then that can cause us some problems. And that church thing has been fictionalized. It's a sad thing. So, law versus color of law. Relevance regarding the process of jurisdiction. Now, jurisdiction involves law, and we're going to have to touch on this again in just a little bit. Jurisdiction involves law because the meaning, the law speaks. Now, within that jurisdiction is a place. It involves a territory, a venue, a realm wherein that law speaks. The Scripture speaks within the earth realm to man. It also speaks within, in the bigger picture, within the cosmos, in all that the Creator is doing throughout the cosmos. Okay? And it, for earth, is in accord, in keeping with all these other things that He has ordered and are operating in the cosmos that we can't see. They're hidden from our eyes because our eyes have limited bandwidth. Okay? More Timotheus? You're part of the engineer in Timotheus also. Okay. So relevance regarding the process that we're doing. We're dealing with person, or we're dealing with that kind of person. Well, we know that that one doesn't, in the realm of truth, that one doesn't exist because it's a what?
Fiction.
It's a fiction, also known as a lie. Then there's that. And some people say, well, I'm not a person. Well, that's because they're thinking of a person only in that way.
Right.
Now, a person, if you go to persona, the Latin in that, it's the face that you wear. How you are presented, what other people see when they look at you. That's persona. It's applied to actors. You know, you have the masks and all that kind of thing. It can be hypocritical, and that's where you're pretending. Like these actors on the stage in the courtroom. And these guys sitting up there in Congress. Okay? Okay, regarding jurisdiction, there's place. Well, a law of a certain place, each place has a law involved with what's going on there. Well, if it's this kind of place, it has one law. If it's this kind of place, it has another law at work. Can a lunatic who is deluded, believing in the lie, see this?
No.
No. See, through lies they've been hiding our remedy or our resolution, and thereby hiding our liberty. And then there's a thing. So what kind of thing is it? And what does the law involve regarding this thing? So jurisdiction, the law speaks. So there's a realm, a place wherein that law operates involving things of that realm. Just like we are things of the cosmos, part of the entire creation that God has made. And so we cannot escape cosmic law. In other words, and some people will attach too much of a religion mind to this, but in truth it's not a religious thing in the sense of a perversion. Most fundamentally, religion is morality, a moral code. If you have a moral code, you have religion. But see, that's been perverted along with the concept of church, so that religion is made to be a church. Particular faith. Well, it is, but see, whenever we only look at it in that way, from that perspective, we fail to see the greater truth of what religion is. Religion is the code that you live by. The law that's at work in your inner man. That's your religion. That's why you want freedom of religion, and that's why you can't have separation of church and the state in the sense of separating religion from the state, because everyone has a moral code that they're operating in, and if all the sovereigns who have dominion in the land are operating in accord with their moral code, you've got religion at work. Though it is not the Church of England or the Catholic Church or the Mormon Church or the Baptist Church or whatever. We can't escape religion. All right? So, relevance, we're operating within the cosmos that God created. There is cosmic law regarding you, regarding me, regarding the things in the earth realm where we are sojourning in our earth suits. And we're given those things because the Creator wants us to have what is good for us, even wants us to enjoy our time here, as long as we don't do it unlovingly. Whenever we stay within cosmic law regarding this stuff right here, we have liberty. Ye shall know the truth of cosmic law, and the truth shall make you free. How? In continuing in and doing that truth. Living and moving and having our being in accord with truth. You can't afford to eat? I have some money in my pocket. Here, let me buy you a meal. You don't know what to do to earn a living? I have some knowledge that I can share with you to help you know something that you can do to earn a living so that you can take care of yourself and help others too, then I take the time to help you in that. As long as I don't depart from the specific assignment that the Creator has given me. Because in doing that, I'm not fulfilling His desire for me. So I'm violating cosmic law in that. Violating the law of love. What time is it?
The current time is 10:54.
Okay.
Lunch is at 12.
Lunch is at 12. What is law? Covered this before, but we'll go over it again. Review for those who attended the last seminar, and for those who did not, then this will be new to you. What is law? Most essentially, law is that which is laid down, set in order and established for the purpose of governing. It may be written or unwritten. It can be a principle or a set or system of principles. And it always involves some force unique to it and operating or governing in its realm, its area of dominion or rule, with determinable effect. What law was in operation?
Gravity.
Determinable effect. Okay. So we saw a principle, a set of principles in operation. There's the law of gravity. Now, if I take that and I have at least two laws.
Force and gravity.
I have the force, the law of gravity, which involves the force of gravity, and I have the physical force, the energy, did the work that added to the force of gravity. Some things, if you just drop them, they'll shatter. And other things, if you drop them, they won't shatter. But if you throw them, they'll shatter. Okay? So there are observable things that are occurring that are involved in the qualities, the characteristics, and the principles that are operating. Law is always governmental, involving rule of mind. What governed the position and time and space of that laser pointer? What's that?
You thought about it.
I first thought about it,
About where
but I did not create the gravity. That's a good observation.
Not about where you would drop it. You got a record.
I thought about where I would drop it. What I'm doing, I'm using my mind, and my mind is a law. It's a laid down, ordered concept. Also, Scripture calls that a word. Okay? Now, I'm going to do something in accord with that, my knowledge and my faith regarding that knowledge. So I have cognitive, motive, persuasion, predictable outcome. Predictable action, predictable outcome. Now, who established that law of gravity? God did. Cosmic law always agrees with the mind of God because that's the source of it, and that is the operating force involved. The mind and power of God make that predictable every time. We get a different result when we involve other laws of the cosmos and come up with a zero gravity situation and drop it. It doesn't fall. It's just suspended there. That's because of the interrelationship and the cooperation of those different laws to produce a different apparent effect. Okay, law is always governmental, involving rule of mind, whether that mind is conscious or unconscious regarding it, or whether that mind is a mind of some man or that of the Creator or that of some other being. People, there are extraterrestrials. What is an angel? An extraterrestrial. What is a demon? An extraterrestrial on the dark side. Okay. What is God? He's extraterrestrial. He's everywhere present, but He is not of this world, is He? No, He's the creator of it. All right. What is Christ? He's extraterrestrial. While He was here, He was terrestrial. When He was ascended, the Creator was letting us know that this life doesn't end when the earth suit lays down and deteriorates. Okay? And He was letting us know that He has the power to give us new bodies. He was demonstrating to us what He has in mind in the time called regeneration. Okay, so any questions regarding what is law? And of course, contribution of Timotheus there. Brother Tim attached a handle to me. It's Dr. Timotheus. Have you heard the other one? What is my doctorate? He's a doctor of infinity. That's like a Buzz Lightyear. To infinity and beyond. But that's what we're on. We're on a journey to infinity. Eternity. And we're learning. We're being groomed while we're in our earth suit. What is color of law? Let's have some fun with this. Okay. What's color? False what?
False authority.
False authority. That's a good description. Okay, I didn't ask for a definition. I asked for what is. Is a state of being word, so we're going to characteristics regarding its nature. Okay? What is color of law? Lack of authority.
Fictitious.
Fictitious.
Pretending to be law.
Resembles law. Yes?
Pretending to be law.
Pretending to be law. Ooh. You guys are sharp.
Total scam.
A total scam. It's a lying law. That's good. It's a lying law. It's a figmentation of the imaginate. That wasn't Timotheus. That was a little bit of the redneck.
What about indoctrination?
Color of law, indoctrination.
The indoctrinating us.
How about a bunch of escrow?
Yeah, false programming.
Yeah. The Kool-Aid.
Inflictication. Inflictication. Color of law, inflictication. Public school system. We're being inflicticated. Okay. Most essentially, color of law is that which is laid down, set in order and established for the purpose of governing apart from positive law. Relatively speaking, it is pretended law, or if you want to be upper class, faux law, or fictitious law regarding fictitious persons, places, and things. Oh, by the way, this outline is included in your course material. I'm sorry, I should have said that before. But we learn when we write, don't we? It does. How does law work? Sometimes it doesn't seem to work, does it? How does law work? The law of something involves a rule, reign of that something in accord with the nature and principles of that something. Where the rule or reign involves a force, where the nature is a combination of qualities. You know, God has a nature. One of His qualities in this great combination of qualities of God is love. God is love. Love does not define God as being the meaning of the word God, but it is one of His qualities. Principles being truths governing action operation of that something. The law of love involves a rule, reign of love in accord with the nature of love and the principles of love. When we read 1 Corinthians chapter 13, love is this, love is not that, so on and so forth. A list of things describing qualities. There's a combination of qualities. So in the Apostle Paul, by the Holy Spirit there, was not giving us a complete explanation, a complete discourse, but he was taking this quality and that quality of love. And those qualities are often seen because of this, the truths governing operation of love. So they're interrelated. That's why I have a conjunctive, or excuse me, Timotheus has a conjunctive and there, bringing those two things together as being cooperative in agreement with this force, under the power of that force. Okay, the law of the sovereign involves the rule, reign of that sovereign in accord with the nature of that sovereign and the principles governing action operation of that something, of that sovereign. Okay? The principles governing action operation of that sovereign is where religion comes in, because that's where his moral code functions in that area. Okay? We can't separate government from religion. Okay? That is a total conflict. It's an impossibility. But the government is not intended to be a man-created church organization. Okay? But we are a church. We are an ecclesia. We are a called out body politic. Choosing to operate in the love and truth of God regarding His purpose in our dominion assignment here. How does color of law work? Well, let's see what Timotheus has to say. Color of law involves a rule, reign, force, a pretended law, pretense, fiction, in accord with the nature, combination of qualities, and principles, truths governing action, operation of pretended law. Pretense, fiction. That is, the law of pretense fiction involves the rule, reign of pretense fiction in accord with the nature and principles of pretense/fiction. Inflicticated. Inflicticated by the public fool system and by the You ever wonder why they call it these why they call these courses programs? They're programming us with the lie that they want us to believe so they can affect the outcome of their will that is opposed to the will of God. Satan don't want you to believe the truth and have that faith operating in your life and love operating in your life, because he loses ground. You could think of Satan in a manner of speaking as a guy who sees that he's going to lose some property, so instead of losing the property graciously, he destroys it. How do we recognize what law is operating? Well, don't we look at the combination of qualities? Combination of qualities. If it's the law of admiralty, there's a combination of qualities of admiralty. Okay? If it's common law, there's a combination of qualities of common law. Now we know that a dog is not fiction. There's no way for a dog to be fiction because it is a creature created by the Creator. It has substance. But those things don't have substance. So there's really no security to hold on to. There is a false security. We're being delivered. We are being redeemed. We are being set free by God. That's what the Republic's about. And that's what you're about, in learning this and helping others with your knowledge. How do we recognize what law is operating? We look at the evidences of what's going on. What qualities are being presented to us? And what principles do we see in operation? Or what set of principles do we see in operation regarding that law? Or what's the things that we see? Well, Scripture has some interesting things to say. Before getting that, having adequate cognition. Timotheus defines that as awareness with ordered understanding. Cognition. That is his use of the word cognition here. Having adequate awareness with ordered understanding or ordered knowledge, we critically observe the evidences and we soundly reason. We have been taught in our public school system how not to reason effectively. We have been taught false reasoning. We've been programmed with false reasoning concepts, and we have been robbed of the skills of sound reasoning. And it is only by the grace of God that we are coming out of that injurious programming. By the grace of love. Love does not injure. Love is drawing us out of the false programming. Love is healing our inflictication. You shall know the truth. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. In living and moving and have our being, we produce fruits. In other people living, moving, having their being, they produce fruits. Whenever we want to determine what law is in operation, we look to fruits. We look to what? The evidence is being produced regarding the combination of qualities that are set before us. By their fruits ye shall know them. The fruits of people, the fruits of animals, the fruits of attorneys, the fruits of judges, the fruits of pastors, the fruits of fathers, the fruits of mothers, the fruits of laws in operation. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. That means injurious. That which is injurious lacks love because of the selfish intent involved. For out of the abundance of the heart, for of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaketh. So whenever we're living and moving and having our being, we are proving, giving evidence and proving who and what we are. And whenever we consider law in land, our ownership regarding land, and helping others regarding their ownership regarding land, these principles apply in a parallel fashion because they're truths not only regarding us, but they're truths regarding things and places, involving things and places as well. This is something that I added because I felt that it would be good to have a little better insight regarding appearance. Whenever we make appearances or whenever we look at the appearance of things, a couple of things that Scripture has to say about that. Appearance. Abstain from all appearance of evil. Now there the Greek goes to form. Whenever we're doing things, those combination of qualities take shape, right? They take shape, they'll take a form. And evil there means hurt. That which is not of love. Okay, so we're to abstain. Keep away from all forms, appearance, by that form of hurt, of being injurious. Whenever, if you had to leave here when we go to lunch, instead of going to lunch, if you had to go to the courthouse down there to answer to charges, how would you feel about that? Based on all of the combinations of qualities that you've observed, which has given you indication of the principles in operation in those jurisdictions, what do you expect or tend to expect? From them, you expect them to use lies to take from you. That's what they're doing. It's the truth. Okay? And I know there are exceptions. There are some people who are in those places who are not totally corrupt. And they're doing the best they can with what they have. And God can even affect an outcome in those fictitious arenas. Judge not according to the appearance, which is theirs regarding, it's a different word than the Greek there, sight. But judge, in there that Greek word means to distinguish or decide, but judge, righteous judgment. Righteous there is just or fair judgment. And judgment there is tribunal. In other words, it says, hey, don't go by the merely what you see, but make your decisions by operating a fair tribunal. Each and every one of us is a judge. Judge not that you be not judged, for which what judgments you judge, you shall be judged. Well, what that's saying is, hey, you may see some guy going, you may see someone going into the liquor store, and you think it's totally sinful for someone to have liquor in the first place, and it's worse than that for someone to drink liquor, so you judge them that they are condemned by God because they went in the liquor store. And you, in your ignorant state of mind, failed to take some things into consideration. You made some unsound reasoning because you left out some other possibilities. That's where he was when he couldn't hold it any longer and he had to find a bathroom. Why do we rush to judgments? But sometimes, and it's hard to avoid that. We make mistakes of reasoning all the time. But often, we will know people by their fruits. If someone continues to ignore you, or you call them and they never call you back, you write them letters and they never write you back, what can you know about that? You might not know the exact reason why that behavior is being produced, but are they loving you? No. Okay? By their fruits you shall know them. But we're not to get into the unfair judgment. And as sovereigns, and we're dealing with these land situations, we should not rush to unfair judgment. That's why the integrity of what we're doing is very important. That's why so much energy and so many people have contributed, and why I believe the Lord is pulling some things together so that we can make some just, fair judgments regarding how we handle our affairs in the capacity of sovereigns, and how we love on other people by helping them know the love of God and are empowered to fulfill the purpose that He has for them in this life. Time report?
It's 11:21.
Okay, within the context, do you guys mind if we press on till noon? If I get done a little early, we can go to lunch a little early and have an extra lunch time. Is that okay? If you need to go to the restroom, don't be embarrassed. Go ahead and take care of that, and we'll love you. Within the context of a law, are we a person? Well, that depends on what kind of law. If we are within its scope, which is an area of jurisdiction, we are a person. Look, if it don't apply to you, you are not a person in that jurisdiction, even though you're a man or a woman. If you live and move and have your being in truth, are you a person in the realm and jurisdiction of fiction? If you live and move and have your being in the truth, are you a person in the fictitious jurisdiction, fictional jurisdiction? No. They may try to convince you. What we find in all our interactions is it's a warfare over our mind. And it's a warfare regarding our faith. If we truly trust in God and we hold on to the truth that He's shown us, and we persevere, we keep doing that truth, then faith will cause us to have victory. Christ was crucified, but He had victory. All right? He was condemned by the judges. Well, actually, the judge said, hey, I don't find any guilt in him, but what happened? The people said do it. So, well, I washed my hands, you people said it, so have it your way. Tim's in a similar situation with the case that he filed. Christ submitted to the jurisdiction of someone less than him. He was judged. The judge found him innocent, but pronounced the death penalty on him. Why? Public opinion. Isn't that what the fictitious government uses? Isn't that how they use the media and the public fool system and all that? Public opinion, mob rule. The judge is aware of one thing, but the mob says, "Ah!" So the judge says, "Okay." Okay? So Christ was crucified. But see, like Brother Tim, he had another objective in mind, and the enemy did not realize that what was apparent loss was in truth ultimate victory, not only for Christ, but for you and for me. Okay. It may operate without our consent or with our consent. Law of the cosmos, whether natural or supernatural, whether physical or spiritual, applies generally and fundamentally, while other does not. Cosmic law, also known as the law of God, always prevails. And though while it may not apparently prevail in the here and now, ultimately, when everything is said and done, cosmic law trumps everything and shall have its full effect. Okay, the relevance regarding land patent and deed and title. If the person, place, thing is within the jurisdictional scope, there is some law or color of law operating, including some rule of law. An example of one rule of law is fiction that we inherited in our Roman law basis. If the person, place, or thing is without its jurisdictional scope, the jurisdiction does not apply regarding the person, place, or thing. Let's take law. Gideon, God gives you a piece of land. And you say, "Thank you, Daddy." And you move on it, you set up house, and you're using that, you're taking care, you're a good steward of that land, you take care of it, you grow crops on it, and you take of those crops and you share with people in need around you. Who has any right to take that from you? No one. What law is in operation? God's law, cosmic law. The United States Corporation comes in there and says, "You got to hit the road, Gideon." Are they in accord with God's law, cosmic law? No. Then is there any real authority in what they say? No, not unless you've agreed to live a lie. You see where we're going? You see what we're clarifying with our chaff? Okay, if the land patent or the deed or the title is within its jurisdictional scope, there is some law or color of law operating. When the corporation comes in there and they take you to court, Gideon, who do you suppose that they're going to drag into the court? Or are they going to try to, are they going to go directly to the flesh and blood man who has sovereignty from God? Are they trying a sovereign?
No.
In their mind, in their fictitious thinking, what are they trying? A fiction. A pretense. A prince of darkness. A pretense. Okay? One form of the pretense is the municeps. By being a citizen of the municipal corporation, the municipium,
Well, they have to get you to accept that they have jurisdiction over you. That
yeah,
you are what
they have to get you to accept. Well, over the years, because of all the inflictication programming and all that, and you living and moving and having your being in an afflicted manner, okay, you have all these things, this chaff that makes something false appear to be real. False evidence appearing to be real. Fear. Adhesion contracts are involved in that. Of course, if they don't have your consent, do they really have a covenant with you? Okay. But these things are in operation. Well, your land, patent, and deed, and title, those kind of things involve those jurisdictional considerations. If it's color of law, is it directly dealing with the land? No. It's dealing with the equitable interest, a mere equitable interest that the municeps has. And that municeps is someone who is not a sovereign in that capacity. They are of diminished capacity, which goes to the all caps name. Capitis diminutio maximus. Maximum loss of capacity. So, in the process, since we have, have this driver's license, I have a driver's license in the name of my fictitious person. But actually he's not mine. I'm allowed to use him. Well then, why did I choose to undertake that contract after I had been living and moving and having my being without it for a while? See, I was wrestling with this notion of doing the truth, and I had been awakened to some things that were not truth, and so I'm like, how can I participate in that? And I was reading scripture one time when I was doing this study, and there's this situation where there's a spirit that appeared before the Creator and said, hey, speaking of something going on in the earth realm, let me go and be a lying spirit. And so he said, oh, go and you will succeed. And then it dawns on me, okay, for those who do not receive the love of the truth that they might be saved, God promises that He will send them a strong delusion. What are they looking for when they ask me for this? They're looking for a lie. They're looking for fiction. They're not looking for the truth. So that helped me a lot in my conscience, because I could say, oh, okay, Daddy, if they want a lie, I can give them a lie like you did. That don't make me a liar. But I'm only giving them what satisfies them. It's what they want. I don't want any part of it, but hey, since they want it, and since, hey, God has this cosmic law in effect to give them what they desire the most, if it's Him, He'll give them Him, right? Himself. If it's a lie, He'll give them a lie.
The desires of the heart.
Yes. Okay, so that, these things, with these fundamental nuts and bolts concepts at work consciously in our minds, we can unravel this tapestry of fiction. We can, with X-ray vision, see through the chaff and know the truth so that we can live and move and have our being in agreement with that truth. And that truth, you know, Scripture talks about the law of truth. The law of truth. The law of truth involves the rule of reign of truth in accord with the nature of truth and the principles of truth. The law of faith involves the rule of reign of faith in accord with the nature of faith and the principles of faith. Or the law of faith involves the force of faith in accord with the combination of qualities of faith and the truths governing action operation of faith. Now, you have a deed. How many of you guys have deeds regarding property? Okay, you have deeds. Now, typically, when you see this deed, you'll see an all caps name there. Every once in a while, we find one that has an upper lowercase name, but typically you see an all caps name there. Is that the name of a sovereign? That's the name of a fiction. Okay, so we have, when you see that, that quality participates in the combination of qualities that help us know what law is at work. So where we have fiction, do we have law or color of law?
Color.
Color of law. All corporate law is color of law. Every corporate statute, every corporate code is all color of law. It is not positive law. So, this process, and you as processors are involved in taking that which has been through much chaff type evidence has been made to appear, falsely appear, to be captured in the jurisdiction of fiction, in accord with the law of fiction. Now what we're doing is taking it from, okay, this is a fiction, this is the lie, this is what's been used to separate me from the rights that my Creator desires that I have, and that I have by His design, by His authority, if I will do the truth of those rights and obligations in accord with cosmic law. The law of love, the law of faith, the law of truth, the law of the Spirit of righteousness. All those laws participating in the law of God in accord with His nature and the set principles of operation that are operating, that He operates by, which are those things that are ordered and laid down in His mind. Okay. You take a look at the deed, it's the same thing. A title, whether it's a car title or whatever, same thing. Now, if you have a color of law title, do you have perfect title? No. It's incomplete. It's encumbered by fiction. The fiction, the lie, has separated you from the perfection of ownership. Okay? With a deed, if you have a deed, color of law deed, do you have perfect title regarding that land? No. You have imperfect title. You have evidence of an equitable interest. Because you're the one doing business in the name of that fiction. I don't want to do business in the name of the fiction, but if somebody like a law enforcement officer forces it upon me, then I will give them that lie that they desire. And I am hopeful that before I breathe my last breath, I will be able, the Lord will have have done so many wonderful things in our country and in the earth to where it's a shame and an abomination to present ourselves in that capacity. I want these people to be fully accountable. I want the lie to be stripped away so that everyone can know the truth and be freed thereby, to the extent that they will line up with cosmic law. Okay, so if on your land patent you see somewhere that says United States, which United States is it talking about?
Ours is Republic Farm.
Well, we didn't issue that. It may have been issued earlier before the corporation.
Okay.
Really, in the realm of the real truth. I'm not talking about truth as it is defined by man in accord with his theories of law that says that a fiction is truth. That's part of the rule of fiction. It presumes as true that which is known to be false. You can find that in Black's Law Dictionary. Now, to me, that is evil. Every time, 100% of time, that is evil. You cannot have a lack of injury or a lack of hurt where lies are concerned. Lies always defraud. Lies always rob. Okay, so dealing with that. Now, if it is a color of law land patent, ooh, I'm getting some interesting looks in those eyes out there now. If it is a color of law land patent, why would we even bother with it?
That's right.
Why? Because the people who are given to that state of mind are governed by that law. What if we can take their own color of law and make it apparent that they don't have any right? They can have their delusion and we can have our truth. Right? So that goes to proving, to demonstrating who and what we are. So we take color of law things that color of law thinkers accept as truth even though it's a lie, and we use that and they say, yeah, according to our law, they have perfect title. What can they do to your land? So are you being treated as a sovereign?
Yes.
Because of the power of their own devices. What does Scripture say regarding those who trust in the Lord?
We took that process and nullified it.
By their own devices. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So like Daddy, we can use their own fiction to undo them and show that they have no claim. In the process, since we have a re-inhabited government de jure, we can have some chaff on evidence within the jurisdiction of positive law. So we're taking care of it in the color of law realm, and we're taking care of it in the law realm, the positive law realm. So when we do that, do we have perfect title? Yes. When the requirements are met. But there are some requirements that we'll be presenting. Some requirements have to be met. And that's part of the strategy involved in this process that we fully believe that the Lord has given us to help each other with. and to fulfill our purpose while we're running around here in our earth suits. What time is it? 11:44. Now, I mentioned some objectives before, so we'll take another look at these. Regarding our orientation, we know the meaning of jurisdiction. Is there anyone who doesn't feel like they have a reasonable grip on the meaning of jurisdiction? It involves a law. That law has force and effect in a particular place regarding particular persons and things. Subject matter of that law. Okay? Distinguish between law and color of law. Is there anyone who is unable to distinguish between law and color of law, at least fundamentally? Recognize jurisdictional qualities regarding persons according to their nature, including capacity. I'm a man. Flesh and blood creation of the Most High. I have faith regarding the truth. The Creator has shown me truth. I'm living and moving and having my being in accord with that truth. What jurisdiction am I in?
Truth.
I'm in the jurisdiction of truth. All right? Am I approved and justified by cosmic law?
Yes.
Is there any law equal to or greater than cosmic law? No. Thank you, Daddy. Can recognize jurisdictional qualities regarding places according to their nature. All right. Government de jure is a creation of the people in cooperation with the Creator to effect the purpose and design of the Creator in the earth realm, which is within the entirety of the cosmos. Okay, there are places involved there. The earth is a place within the cosmos. The cosmos is the ordered system. When God made the world, He created an ordered system involving the earth, the heavens, and all of the heavenly bodies. And if there's more than one universe, if He did that, then that applies to the multiverse. Multiple universes. Okay? Different dimensions, if you want to think of it like that. There's a dimension that we can't see, can we? Ooh. Okay? So, the earth is a place within the jurisdiction of cosmic law. Okay? Now, you know, that's comforting to us. But now, what if we chose, knowing what we know now, what if we chose to operate in the realm of fiction and to lie to people to get their stuff? Have we escaped cosmic law?
Yes.
Have we escaped cosmic law?
Oh, you have to escape it. No, you're not operating.
No. Are we still under the force of cosmic law? Yes. Now, we may not be living and moving and having our being in accord with cosmic law, so we are outlaws.
Sure.
But just because we're outlaws doesn't nullify the cosmic law. Excuse me. Thank you, sir. There are also things involved. You've got your things, I got my things. They have their things, we have our things. So jurisdiction, being most fundamentally, the law speaks, involves persons within the scope of that, what has force and effect there in that place, and it involves things. The law of gravity involves the earth, it involves me, it involves you, It involves the clothes that you have on, the jewelry that you have on, the things you left back at the room, and this laser pointer. This laser pointer is a thing. It is somewhere in space and time, okay, within the jurisdiction of cosmic law. Distinguish between lawful ownership and color of law ownership. Is there anyone who doesn't think that they have a fundamental grasp of that to be able to tell the difference between lawful ownership and color of law ownership? The feedback that you've given me so far says that you meet this objective. You've accomplished this. Many of you may probably already had accomplished this before. But hopefully we're solidifying, we're pulling some things together in a system of thinking that's going to empower you. Distinguish between perfect and imperfect title and right. If you haven't met all of the qualifications of perfect right or perfect title, do you have perfect title? If a lie is involved in your title, do you have perfect title? No, we need to get, that's why we need a jurisdictional change regarding our property. State the objective of the subject process. Truth. The objective of the process, this land patent process, which only applies to situations where there are land patents. Not all land has a land patent. Okay? So this is not universal to all pieces of land. This applies where there's a patent, but we're working on other solutions, positive law solutions, where there is no land patent. If I was in an infomercial, I could say, but wait! So there's more to come. Okay? State the objective of the subject process. What is the objective?
To impart knowledge and love.
To impart knowledge and love.
To get our
land
into
and the
the
property of the
jurisdiction
law.
of the Republic.
To get our land into the jurisdiction of the Republic.
Yeah.
What else?
To obtain your land in a lawful, rightful process to have ownership. Real.
Apply positive, let me interpret. Apply positive law to perfect title. To perfect ownership. If we apply positive law, that's in agreement with cosmic law, right?
To reclaim our right to being the king of our land.
Yes, to reclaim our right. And we've always had the right, but we have not been enforcing it. So what we're doing is we're enforcing our rights. We're taking dominion. So we've been robbed of some things, but we're undoing the lies. And how are we undoing the lies? With the truth and using their own lies. Right? We use a color of law deed. We're using their fiction, right? But we're going to, the enemy changes the truth into a lie by perversion. How do we change a lie into the truth?
Expose the lie.
Reversal.
What was the question again?
Expose the lie with truth.
How do we change a lie into truth?
By doing the truth.
If we can change the truth into a lie,
Change the lie.
we change the truth into a lie by perverting it with untruth. How do we go from fiction to non-fiction? By removing the fiction, right? Okay, so in this process, our objective, fundamentally, on a personal level, is to convert that which is within the realm of fiction to that which is apparently in the realm of truth in accord with cosmic law, and thereby enjoy the rights of our sovereignty regarding land ownership, right? There are many ways to state our objective. And there are multiple objectives. We talked about other objectives earlier. What's that? Okay, I have a problem. I've never met Timotheus, and I've been inflicted severely. And our paths cross. And you have met God, which, by the way, Timotheus is nothing. But God is everything, because if there's anything good that Timotheus has, it's because God put it there. Okay? So, you have met God. And God has shown you some things to undo the injury to me and to help secure me. What law is operating when you reach out to help me? Love. The law of love. So one of our objectives is to be perfect in operating our lives within the law of love regarding ourselves, our family, and our fellow man. Okay, so in summary, we had an introduction where we talked about living and moving and having our being, some things fundamental to that. We talked about jurisdiction, what is law, how does law work. We embellished that with what is color of law and how does color of law work. How do we recognize what law is operating? Within the context of a law, are we a person? And some things relevant regarding a land patent, deeds, and title. Okay, so there was the introduction of things that we did there. Were knowing, doing, and convincing, developmental growth process, and faith, those things being involved. Jurisdiction, the meaning, consideration of jurisdiction regarding lawful legal power and authority, relevance of the process regarding person, place, thing. What is law? How do we recognize what law is operating? Within the context of a law, are we a person? Relevance regarding land, patent, deed, and title. So hopefully this morning, we, in living, Brother Tim and I, in living and moving and having our being in love under the direction and with the help of the Almighty Creator, have helped Him, been servants in helping Him empower you in taking dominion and help others do the same regarding land ownership. And Brother Tim's going to be getting into things more specific to that process. And I'm thankful that you all are here. I prayed before. I trust whenever I have I'm blessed with the opportunity to speak with my fellow countrymen, I know that I'm speaking to royalty. And Scripture says for us not to worry about what we're going to say before we get there, and that the Father will put the words in my mouth, our mouths. And so that's my perspective in my interacting with you here. You guys are awesome. And I know you guys out there in video land are awesome too. And so I trust in the Father that He has poured the things into your inner man that you most need this morning, though there are many other things to come for you. All right? You want to...
We're gonna break lunch, and Colby's just walking distance right around the corner at the shop center. How long? About 1:30. Be back at 1:30. 10.
What? Yeah.
1:15.
What did...
1:30.
Tim said 1:30?
Yeah.
Okay. So back here...
We'll start at 1:30.
Back here at 1:30. Is anyone... Let me see if I can be a little more clear. If you can stop the noise for a little bit so I don't have to strain my voice. He mentioned Colby's at the shopping center right at the corner. If you go out the front door and you turn right and go down the sidewalk, you'll come upon a shopping center, a small shopping center on the left. You'll see it. If you go to that shopping center, go to the crosswalk if you so desire. You'll see the Colby sign on the front. I think it's not quite halfway down the shopping center. They have had consistently good food at a reasonable